Hi friends, we'll just do a quick analysis of the market for last week, take a look at the global markets, and then eventually also talk about what to, sort of plan for the next week as well. Okay, so we'll start with a quick sort of overview analysis of the last week. If you see, this was the kind of trading range here. We had a downside opening, consolidation, and then sort of a trend day, and then a consolidation within the trend day. If you look at Nifty's weekly profile, which is this, it has a profile here, and then a lot of concentration of volume around this range, which is 650 to 500. Okay, so what has happened is due to all this, we have concentrated on the low, on this trend day up that we had. Post that, we are concentrated on the lower range of this trend day. So I've been trading and holding below 650, and I've been concentrating on the trend day, lower range of this trend day, which is very different from Bank Nifty. If I look at Bank Nifty, the profile is pretty similar, but if you see the range consolidation is much on the higher side of this trend day up. So if you really look at the Bank Nifty range, Bank Nifty has essentially consolidated this trend day up again, which is a strong trend day. After that, we have sort of consolidated, if you stick on the higher range of this range above the 39 to 200 levels. So that is where we concentrate. Hence, Bank Nifty definitely is much more stronger for this week compared to Nifty, and one of them will eventually even up, and either Bank Nifty catches up with Nifty on the downside, or Nifty catches up with Bank Nifty on the upside. Okay. Before going to the weekly profiles, I think we'll also quickly look at the weekly profiles once. Okay, how they are positioned, and what is it that is in for store. So if you see, this is the Nifty weekly profiles. I've just used, just to tell you that there's not much difference when you look at structured profile on the long run from market profile or volume profile view. I've used the market profile levels for an example. Okay, so weekly profiles, if you see, we had this trend up week in terms of value going higher every week. Value is one thing I track on the weekly profiles, and then we had this value down, and then range consolidation. If you see, this and this is pretty similarly stacked, which is about 17,600 650 areas. Okay, so and we have overlapping values as well. So what would be the expectation would be, at some point you would expect this range break outside this, on the upper side or on the downside. The levels, key levels on the upside is 890 900, and on the downside is about your this level, which is I think what 300 odd levels. Okay, so these are the two levels that are on play once we try and break outside this range of this current week, essentially. But the weekly profiles are overlapping, and similar value in Bank Nifty, though we have formed a little bit of higher value on the weekly profile, if you see. Okay, so we had this, and then this value which was there, but this one is at a higher level. So generally, Bank Nifty is evidently again on the value point of view also, we are looking to rotate higher and test higher levels, basically on the brink of a, I think both the tops of the weeks are also very similar, and sort of the lows are also very similar. Okay, so there are clearly two overlapping weeks on Bank Nifty from a price point of view, and higher value from a value point of view. Okay, now before I go to what to sort of expect, I think a quick look also on the global market scenario. So this is the S&P chart, if you see. Okay, this is the S&P chart, S&P daily charts here. Okay, so there has been a couple of bottoms at 3900. So we had almost two identical lows. Yesterday was a day when non-farm payroll, sorry, jobs data came in, and market on Friday rallied, and then it collapsed back, which is basically sort of selling the news, and clearly shows that the sellers are still not giving up. So we had a pretty sharp down, move from S&P from, let's say, 4200 levels till 3900 levels without any uptick and without any correction. Okay, which is almost a 10% plus move, if you see from S&P point of view. So we are oversold, but we are still not giving up. Okay, and on the sell side, so, and there are couple of identical lows around 3900, and if they crack, we could lead to another round of sell off to 3820, 3800 and lower levels. Okay, so we are at the brink of a breakdown, and it will be very crucial how S&P plays 3900 levels in a Monday Asia sessions or higher up. Okay, and at the same time, crude also, if you see, this is a yearly profile on crude also, I think, has been sort of breaking down, and on the edge of the profile now, crude as such for us. Okay, so what we have to see is, If again 86, 86.5, if crude is able to hold fine, then we expect a pullback. Crude also has seen a severe sell-off. I think if you see, this range 97 to 86 in just 3 days. Okay, and overall the crude trend has been sort of lower lows at this point and lower highs. Okay, so 97 remains a resistance, 85, 86 is an immediate support. 86, once we break 85, 86 levels, I think then you look to test lower levels of 78 and those levels essentially. Okay, so but crude, if you see also, as I said, is on the brink of a couple of identical lows on crude is also there. Okay, so that is the situation with these markets, where they are both these markets, if you see, especially S&P, if you want to look at a very crucial juncture, where once we see it holding below 3900, my take is all markets will also tend to sell off and will have a bearish bias. Though we are still outperforming global markets, but our bias might change bearish, and we may not relatively do that bad, but eventually the break can be triggered by what happens to the US markets largely at this point, because they are at a very crucial juncture. Okay, similarly, if it starts holding 3900, I would anticipate that we sort of show an uptick of. Okay, now coming to this week, I think, as I said, if you see, there's a lot of value being developed between 650 and 500. 500, 530 Nifty. So my take here would be typically use 650 as a pivotal point, and if we are able to get above 650, then I would look for a move back to test last week's high of 800, 800 odd levels. Okay, so at the same time, if you break below 500, 530, then I think a move to 370 and a move to 250 is on. And especially on the downside, I would anticipate, if the break happens, we could see a larger move, because this was a lot of longs created, which they have further struggled to bring the value up, bring the interest up in the market basically. Okay, so these guys will scamper for some profit booking, and at the same time, the shorts that have been created in this range will also sort of move into aggressive shots at this point. Okay, so 650 being a key level to watch out in the markets, and the 500, 530 being another key level. Within this range, look for trading pullbacks. We have seen a lot of pullback plays within this range. Continue to trade that. I think if you see, there was a pullback here, there was a pullback here, there was a pullback here, there was a pullback here. So continue to trade those pullback trades. Yesterday was a very good two-way pullback, again Friday. Okay, so continue to trade these pullbacks. And Nifty, I think the pullbacks we can creep to a neutral to positive bias until, negative bias until we take out 650. Bank Nifty, on the other hand, is, as I said, is, if you see, this was the range, and we have been boxing on this higher side of this range basically. Okay, so Bank Nifty, I'm clearly interested to sort of trade both on the upside basically. Okay, and the value also for this week has been higher. So once we clear 620, 650 levels, I think Bank Nifty can push to 40, 30, 40K, 42, 250 levels. Okay, on the upside. Okay, so I'm willing to see if we can hold above these in the Monday open, then I'll be initiating longs. At the same time, if it breaks below your 39, the value area low here, which would be approximately, just a second, the value area low would be approximately your 39,400 levels, 39,400, 39,350 levels. Okay, so once we break below that 39,400 levels, we should look to test on the lower side 39,200 and probably 39,050. Okay, key inflection would be break of this 39, this zone. If you see, your 39 to 950 areas is something, 39 950, yeah, about this area. Okay, about this area, which is 39 950 900 areas. If you really break that, I would look to see a move down to these zones, overall 38 500, 38 450 levels. Okay, so this is the key play that is possible on the downside, on the for Bank Nifty. And but overall, I think Bank Nifty is bullish. So my primary play for Bank Nifty would be to see, as I said, hold above 650 for a longish play. Okay, failure to hold 650, or maybe rotation to 39 400, but and hold below 400, look for a downside play on the downside. Okay, I think these are the key things. Watch out for the global markets. Watch out for how we treat it. And if on a short trade, I would prefer Nifty. If in a long trade, I would prefer Bank Nifty. Maybe you can also make that decision, because depending on how both are playing out. Okay, that's all, guys. Have a good day and a good Sunday ahead.